She's a model railroader. Specifically, she works in G-scale, and for reference, that means the average locomotive is about 4 to 5 inches tall and up to 14 inches long. One summer, she was taking part in a model railroad exhibition at her local convention center, displaying some of her models. Being from Canada, the fact that she modeled the Scottish Highlands meant her display really stood out. As there are always kids at these types of shows, she had taken to putting a plexiglass barrier around her layout to prevent children from reaching in and touching things or damaging the various structures and models that went with the railroad. While she was watching one locomotive she just received leave the staging area, or a more identified or small 4-track system that lets her funnel trains into the layout and back out as needed, she noticed a woman making comments about the adorable little trains. Getting that train running at a nice slow pace, she approached the woman with a smile and asked if she had any questions. The woman never missed a beat. She pointed to the train that had just been started and told her that her son liked trains and that she should sell her one of them. Now, truth be told, this wasn't an uncommon thing to happen. Other hobbyists sometimes ask if certain units are up for sale. Sometimes they are, but typically not. She explained that the locomotive wasn't for sale, and that even if it were, the woman wouldn't have liked the price anyway, noting that the engine she was pointing at had cost her close to $1,200. The woman was having none of it. She offered $15 for it since it was obviously just a toy. She ignored her and went back to setting up the next train on the staging track, waiting for the first one to return. As she did, she heard an odd sound and looked up just in time to see the woman picking the locomotive up off the track and moving to hand it to her kid. She called out for her to stop, which may have been a mistake because the woman promptly dropped it on the ground. The engine, though somewhat robust and heavy, was made of rather soft cast metal. When it hit the ground, there was a sickening crunch. She knew from the sound alone that the engine was done for, broken beyond repair. The woman just looked down at it, shrugged, and kicked it back under the table before starting to walk off. Thankfully, security quickly caught up with her and detained her while police were called. All the while, the woman kept saying, "It's just a toy. Men don't play with toys," while completely ignoring the fact that she was surrounded by dozens of train layouts with just as many grown men proudly showing off their work. Police arrested her on destruction of private property charges, and the convention center itself barred her from ever setting foot on the property again. Later, with the woman's information in hand from the police report, she filed a civil case against her for the replacement of the locomotive. And you won't believe it, the woman had the nerve to try to convince the judge that it was just a toy and that the receipts presented for the purchase of the locomotive weren't real. She even claimed she had seen the exact same locomotive at Target herself. Well, the case ended in her favor. The woman was ordered to pay replacement costs as well as punitive damages. The judge ended the case with a simple but pointed warning. Just because you want something doesn't give you the right to simply take it. From the criminal side of things, the woman ended up with around 60 hours of community service and a substantial fine on top of that. Justice served. The second story takes us back to second grade. A young girl, let's call her Maya, came down with a severe case of pneumonia. She was hospitalized for approximately 3 weeks, and she spent her 7th birthday in that hospital room right around the Christmas holidays. For her birthday, she received a special holiday Barbie doll that she absolutely adored. A few times a day, she would go for a walk throughout the hospital while someone cleaned the room. When she came back one time, her Barbie was nowhere to be found. They eventually located it. But it wasn't until 17 years later that her mom told her what had really happened. Apparently, the woman who cleaned the room had stolen the Barbie. When they realized it was missing, her mom asked the nurses if anyone had seen it. They all said they didn't know. But her mom spotted the top of the Barbie's glittery headpiece poking out of one of the nurse's tote bags. Her mom pointed it out, and the nurse instantly grabbed her bag and started going off, ranting that her daughter deserved the Barbie and that Maya was just a spoiled brat. Maya, the 7-year-old child in the hospital on her birthday, a spoiled brat. The other nurses were appalled and called security to retrieve the doll. Needless to say, that nurse was fired. What's worse than stealing from a child? Stealing from a sick child who was hospitalized on her birthday? What a piece of work. The third story begins on a quiet afternoon. She didn't have school that day, so she decided to take her little dog, a 7-month-old Bichon Frise named Daisy, out for a walk on what turned out to be a pretty sunny day. Everything went well at first. She strolled through her neighborhood, admiring how absolutely adorable her puppy was, as Daisy trotted ahead of her, sniffing everything in sight. At some point, she walked past a small bakery cafe. Her family visited this cafe very often, and the staff knew her personally. It was a genuinely warm relationship. And sitting at one of the outdoor tables was a mother, their future entitled parent, along with her child, who was about 8 or 9 years old. And she would normally have just walked past, but the child got excited seeing Daisy and started shrieking that she wanted to pet her. So she smiled, crouched down beside Daisy, and let the little girl come over. The first few seconds were great. The girl petted Daisy's head gently, asked about her gender, how old she was, sweet, normal stuff. Then out of nowhere, the girl started yanking Daisy's ears roughly. Daisy began to whimper. She gently moved the kid's hands away as softly as she could. She doesn't like that, sweetheart. It hurts her ears. The entitled mother shot up from her chair aggressively, startling both her and the child. Excuse me? Did you just touch my kid? I'm sorry if that bothered you. She just pulled my dog's ears, and I moved her hands away to make her stop. It won't happen again. So it's a dog. She is an amazing girl and an excellent student. Let her play however she wants. But no, it's my dog, and I don't want your daughter to hurt her. At that point, the mother got heated and pulled her child beside her. She stood up as well and took Daisy into her arms. Mommy, I want the dog. The entitled mother whispered something in her kid's ear. Something she couldn't hear. But whatever it was, it made the little girl smile widely. Put the dog down this instant and let her play with her. She looked at the woman, shocked by the way she was being spoken to, but she still held out some hope and simply said, no. And, oh boy, here we go. Who the hell do you think you are? My daughter wants to pet the dog. Give the dog to her right now. Somehow, she stayed calm. I'm the owner of this dog, and I'm not going to do that. She tried to walk past the woman, but the mother physically blocked her path with her body. My daughter wants the dog. I tried to be polite, but you are so rude and terrible. Give the dog to me. And then she actually shoved her, reached out and tried to snatch Daisy right out of her arms. She managed to step back just in time, somehow keeping her balance and keeping hold of Daisy. At that moment, the cafe manager, her friend, appeared and stepped between them, since they were practically shouting at each other by this point. Is there a problem here? Yes, there is. This girl took our dog away from my daughter's arms and refused to give her back. She claimed my dog as hers. She was so stunned she couldn't even open her mouth to defend herself. The cafe manager looked at Daisy, then back at the woman. You're talking about this dog? Yes. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I happen to know for a fact that this is her dog, not yours. No, it's our dog. My daughter wants it. No, it's not. And I don't care if she does. I'm going to politely ask you to leave now. The woman hissed some offensive words, made a bit more of a scene, and then started gathering her things. She went inside to drink some water. She was completely shaken, but before the woman and her daughter left, she heard the little girl say something along the lines of, "But you said this would work. You said I could have the dog and take her home." No, sorry, little girl, she's kind of a victim in all this. But she's going to have to learn an important life lesson sooner or later. Her mother is a dishonest human being who lies to her and tries to steal from people. The sooner she figures that out, the better off she'll be. The final story. She was sitting in a dentist's waiting room with her aunt. Another mother and her son were sitting across from them, and she noticed they were both eyeing the handheld gaming console she was playing. Her aunt got up to go to the restroom, and the moment she left, that mother got a glint in her eye. As soon as the aunt was gone, there is Siri on Zerpurner on their Barmy. The mother encouraged her son, Siri Kausaran Saini Dawar Sirin Sturdy Parside, and let's call him Danny, to walk over and stand right in front of her. What? Give him your video game. He's been waiting for it. What? No, I bought this myself. Don't lie to me. What teenage girl buys a little kid's toy? Danny deserves it more than you do. Give it to him. She tucked her console into her bag. Danny immediately started trying to pull the bag away from her.